Welcome to another episode of Barn Songs. Tonight I have Wilt family. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Welcome. Glad to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. No crickets tonight.
No crickets.
No rain. I was hoping we might get some pitter patter of that, but
Might still happen.
it could. It definitely could. It's been overcast all day. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Cool. Well, welcome. I like it. You know your songwriting. What are you gonna play for us?
That's a good question. I'm going to play When Woes Want.
Okay. Is that an original or a cover?
It's an original I've written since moving here to Phoenix. It's a song dealing with what to do when woes want to bug you.
Yeah. Okay. Songwriting wise, is it a song that came to you fast? Is it one of those ones that you had to toil over for a couple of years?
Actually, yeah. I come up with the music usually pretty easy. Like, music always comes to me really fast. I always have things, ready to go or wanting to be born. Lyrics, I often have more trouble with, or
Sure.
they come, but then I change them a lot before I finish. It drives me crazy.
Okay.
But actually, when I did do this one, I think this one just happened in a couple little 1-hour sessions over a couple of days.
Cool. A lot of times they're the best ones.
Yeah, I wish they were all like that.
That just come like somebody turned the faucet on, give
Yeah.
you it, and then. Do you ever? I've sometimes found that, especially with songs like that, they'll come to me, especially when the lyrics come really quick. I'll almost not know what lyrically it's about, but I'll like it. And then, as time passes, 6 months or a year, I can look back and go, oh, that's what that song was about. That's because there was this thing going on that I wasn't acknowledging, or, Do you ever have that kind of...
I try for that, to tell you the truth. I call that like your subconscious songs.
Sure.
It's like, I think there's 3 different kinds of songwriting. You can kind of think of an idea and you can manifest it.
Right.
You have your subconscious songs where they kind of just come, you sculpt away. It's like painting a painting,
Sure.
Sculpting something, you carve away at it. And then I have what I guess you would call like the Kate Bush songs.
Okay.
And that's sort of like I feel like there's very few people that can do this, but you can create a reality that you've never actually experienced yourself.
Okay.
But to the listener, or the way that you do it, or whatever that magic is, you can create something you know nothing about, but it is very real and detailed.
Yeah.
And I have not been able to write one of those.
I would agree that's a good classification of the 3, and that's probably the most mysterious and the hardest to attain.
Like Kate Bush, Army Dreamers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's young men going off to war.
Yeah, how do you...
It's a pretty good song. The
Yeah.
lyrics really
Yeah.
speak a truth, but
Yeah.
she never went to war.
Exactly. That's, I don't know if you watched the recent Springsteen on Broadway thing.
Oh, no, I didn't.
So, I grew up in Jersey, so I'm now living out here. I wasn't there, but now I'm a very big Springsteen fan. But I wasn't there because I was too close, right?
I got you.
But he's like the king of that. Like he never worked for a union construction company. He never worked in a mill. He wrote car songs, when he didn't know how to drive yet,
Oh, I didn't know.
like in his early 20s, like he's writing lyrics about breaking free and just putting your lead foot down. And he didn't know how to drive a car until he moved out here.
I didn't know that.
I don't know how you get into that where you can just seep into someone else's soul.
Yeah, I don't either. I've not been able to write a song like that.
And then you can impart, the other 2 are good. Obviously, the stream of consciousness is good. I think those are usually the best. The other one, like you said, you have an idea. I think that's how Nick Cave writes, right? They're all just story songs.
Yeah, you have to be a really, I think, just really intelligent person to be able to consistently do good work like that. I mean, anyone can write a story and write
Sure.
a song like that or whatever, but a good one it's like clever's not enough, I don't think, in that situation.
Right.
Like I myself really like I got really into Patti Smith when I started doing this, and she will only write and perform from her subconscious, and read a lot of her interviews and stuff like that, and where she talks on how to get into that state of mind, and I haven't figured out myself,
Yeah.
to do it the way that she does, but I do force myself to work material over and over and over again until those things come out of me. Like if I was to sit down right now and say, hey, you have to write a song in 10 minutes, ooh, I wouldn't want to play it. You know what I mean? Like the music, fine. The lyrics, usually what I come with up right off the bat is just very, at its best, is just like bare bones.
Sure.
And it's not necessarily something you want to look at on the ground as some bones. You want to see something beautiful and good.
Yeah. I get what you mean.
Nick Cave, actually, you brought him up. I really like about him too is that's a lot about how he writes and does everything. Is to him nothing is inspiration based. Like he is like a workaholic.
That's
you have to sit at a desk.
It's a craft.
And work it every day. And if you only write 2 words, that's fine. But if you do it every day,
right,
you'll be fine. So like actually, when I started doing this too, that was the same thing. Is I've always been an inspiration. I write and inspired. I've had good things, but very few. And it wasn't until I read an interview with Nick Cave that I realized it's like you need to set up a little card table and have your papers and organize it, and then sit there. And I would take my posters and everything off the wall, so it's a blank wall. So everything I thought would be my thought.
Sure.
And then just.
Yeah, it's like you. What do they call those chambers that desensitize, where you just float? It's like you need to get into that, but have a guitar.
Yeah, the salt water.
Right.
Yes, that's like the Patti Smith side too. When she talks about it, she makes it sound so easy, and then I would go up on YouTube and watch these performances of her in the 70s and early 80s, and she's like a ghost flopping around. It's nuts, but it still sounds so sharp, but.
Where that's the polar opposite of like Nick Cave, who's basically a carpenter or a plumber.
He dials it in. He's been doing it so long, and to this day, like if you bring this conversation up with him, he just says, I sit at a typewriter for hours and hours and hours every day.
Yeah, well, and I think that speaks to the bigger thing of even what this is about, right? So the whole point of this show is to sit with songwriters, because I personally feel it's a dying art. Not to like, who's writing Lizzo's songs, because those guys clearly know what they're doing from a pop standpoint, but they're not transmitting, what Jackson C. Frank did, or what Townes Van Zandt did, or, they can hit on a couple key big emotions that the general public's going to be into, but none of the nuances there, and that's why there has to be people like you. Or anyone else who sat in those chairs to realize this is an art form that needs to keep going. We can't just all play EDM or not that there's anything wrong with that, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, it does seem like it is coming back. We were talking a little bit before we started filming. Just how things are starting to get more stripped down, and you have more up and coming people like folk, country, American. If you want to put the umbrella up with like Americana, it's like I don't know. I kind of think that a lot of people are looking for something a little more
earthy.
or just real. And all different kinds of things. You don't even necessarily have to say like folk or whatever, but. If I would have said 20 years ago, like I want to do a country project, it's just like, it would have been few and far between,
right.
And, now not so much, and there's really a lot of good people coming up right now.
Sure.
Or are doing pretty good right now. That niche didn't really exist.
Yeah.
Like even 12 years ago.
Yeah, it almost makes me wonder. I've talked with friends, and associates at length about the cottage industries that have come up over the last 10 to 15 years, right? And the first big one that I recognized was microbrew beer, where, it's just people were tired of hearing Madonna, or they were tired of drinking Budweiser, so then all these little other variations started popping up. And then the other big one, especially for guitar players, is pedals. Like, there's a million of these super unique pedal companies. For drummers, there's cymbals. There's companies that will cobble you high quality shoes, that are to your specifications. I wonder if in some way all of this stuff relates, in where people are looking for quality, something they can really get their hands on, sink their meat hooks into, versus what's on top 40 radio.
Yeah, you're probably actually right. Like, even, when I started doing this, I used to play, hard rock, pop, guitar for hire, and when I was logically thinking of how am I going to get out and to do this and be able to afford to do it, or just when you really work out all the angles.
Sure.
I considered that, it's just like, well, with an acoustic guitar, I'm not going to have to worry about, 20 pedals, and,
Right.
if I'm a singer-songwriter, like, you don't really have any choice but to just be what it is.
Make it work.
Yeah. It is fun to mess around in that a little bit, I don't think anything's better or worse than the other, but yeah, I'm glad I don't have to lug around a bunch of pedals and batteries anymore. And,
No. I oftentimes think that's kind of stuff, especially effects and pedals and gear, it just gets in the way of you being a good musician or a good songwriter. It's like a painter that has too many colors.
Yeah.
Which shade of green for this leaf? I don't, I've got 40.
I used to feel that, like, when I used to play with, like a full band, we would write from raw, but once you would start getting to live or recording is when you would start messing around with effects anymore. And then it kind of seemed like that all changed into, like, you had to have, like, you're getting together the first time to, like, play with some guys or whatever, and you write from, like, the echo pedal or whatever,
right.
This idea of
it can
perfect
inspire.
tone.
Yeah, right.
And a buddy back in Philly and I used to have these conversations of, God, how do you say? I don't really know how to put it. It's like, yeah, fuck, I lost a thought.
Okay. I agree with you. You can't tone and all that. Like, I think it matters. To a certain extent.
Well, in a studio, but like live,
but
if you have this brand of distortion pedal versus this brand, like a live person,
no one
it's not going
cares.
to be, and
Yeah. And I think even on record, like, I'm a really big fan of the Mountain Goats, and everything that guy did up until the early 2000s, he recorded into like a boombox.
Oh, really?
Like a cheap guitar and very lo-fi, but guess what? His songs are amazing.
Yeah.
Like a Daniel Johnston or something. I just think songs win.
Yeah.
Love wins, songs win.
Yeah, a good song, you can do anything with it too. Like,
Yeah.
you turn in any genre, you can speed it up, slow it down,
Mm-hmm.
but if you write from something really specific sometimes, and you can't spin it, you're gonna maybe end up stuck in a little slice of time and place that doesn't really mean too much, and then that's all it is forever. We are all digging up, like we're talking about, even not just music, but just how cottage industry, digging back up everything that was good or quality. Or, people are even getting into furniture now.
Yeah, right. Upholstery and
yeah.
It's cool. I once heard a thing. I think it was AC/DC. They would. And like, it's funny because AC/DC is totally a one-trick pony band, and I think they own it, and I don't think anyone would disagree with it. It's not meant to be a put down, but I think I had read that they would, when they thought they had a good song, they would play it in the studio and just like, let's see if we could play it jazz. Is it still good?
Oh, really?
Let's play it as a punk rock song. Is it still good? Like, and if they could play a song in multiple versions, but it was still cool, then that meant, okay, this is a good song.
Well, I don't know if they did that, but I might start doing that.
It's a cool idea.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
like that idea.
It kind of lends itself to where you were saying, instead of being stuck in the corner, you can go, well, this actually is applicable. You know, there's something to it that this thing has got like a life of its own.
Yeah, you want to be a deck of cards and not a pog.
Yeah, right. That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. So I have one more question. I always do this band, or this artist versus this artist. Two people that you brought up, as we've been talking. I'm gonna say Kate Bush, or / versus PJ Harvey, who I'm a huge fan of.
Oof. Man, they're so different.
Yeah.
PJ Harvey is just really on it and powerful.
Yeah.
Like a force of nature.
Yeah.
Where maybe Kate Bush is very intense and powerful, but is nature.
Sure.
You know,
That's
like
a
PJ Harvey is like thunderbolt, and then like Kate Bush is the creepy yet beautiful forest that you walk through when all your emotions come out. PJ Harvey is like visceral. And,
Yeah.
you know, you could use the same adjectives to the both of them, but like, it's just a different feel.
So if you had to pick one.
Jeez, I want to live in a house with Kate Bush and just figure her brain out.
That would be it?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Just for like a month, if I could just live in the back house and just have some tea in the morning with her.
Like Johnny
Whatever
Depp when
she
he was
does.
in Hunter S. Thompson's basement or whatever he did for Fear and Loathing.
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, but in real life, he went on enough to really understand.
I think he went and lived with him, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I would ever fool myself into the idea that I could ever be Kate Bush.
Well, right, but...
But, yeah, like, her and... Yeah, the way that mind works and the way that she was able to put all that together with everything, it really is... It's always blown my mind,
Cool.
You know, since I was a kid.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, but I would like to, I don't know, how would I like to hang out with PJ Harvey? I don't even know how to say that.
I don't know. I feel like at least half of my questions to PJ Harvey would be Nick Cave related. Because they at one point dated, which you probably wouldn't be very open to talking about. I just have all these ideas in my head.
I saw an interview with her once when she was in Australia, and they were, just to be conversational, asked her, like, who's your favorite Australian? Thinking that she'd say, like, I don't know, like Crocodile, or whatever famous person. But then, of course, the obvious answer was, I don't think they realized.
It's just sitting there like an elephant
in the room. She was like in this room like a year later after them being broken up or whatever, is being confronted with who's your favorite Australian.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Cool.
stranger. I bet it all came out ashamed, but I was proud. I didn't have no money. I would say, let that snake eat itself. My thoughts go to the sea and wonder what happened to me. Was a cold when I could have been alive, made of paper and pale of the kind, just a faker, afraid of this life. So many times I have failed. Was one to write you a letter, lay down salt, scrape the silver off your rings. Too many miles